I find the easiest time to invest in myself is definitely when I first wake up in the morning. I have, and even if you go to bed half an hour earlier and then you can wake up half an hour earlier just to get even in 15 minutes of that one thing that just makes you as a person feel feel really good. It might be you just want to sit and have a warm cup of tea just with no one around. There's little things like that you can do that is investing in yourself. And I feel too, it's a personal one, but I do really enjoy writing everything down to just get everything out.
Welcome to the Purple Stars podcast, the place where every life story and paw print has the power to touch your heart and inspire meaningful change. I'm Sarah Herzl, your host, a coach for health and mindset, a founder, an author, and above all, an animal lover. In this podcast, we bring together guests who share a deep love for our furry companions and offer unique perspectives on life and the life lessons they have learned from animals. If you're an animal lover who is eager to grow personally, this is precisely where you belong.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Purple Stars podcast. I am Sarah, your host, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. Our guest is the founder of Calm and Well. She's a practitioner of ancient Japanese acupressure and the podcast host. And above all, she is such a kind, positive soul. And I'm so excited to introduce Amy Fitzjames.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm so grateful to be on here today. This is exciting. So, yeah.
I am really, really excited too. Before we go into the questions, I quickly want to share how we met, because we actually met at a low point in my life. So I was, just for the listeners who haven't listened to the episode where I shared, I was in New Zealand for quite a few weeks last year. And I got COVID literally on the first day I arrived, and I was in bed for the longest time. And one of the first days where I kind of was able to socially mingle, our mutual friend got us together, and you treated us so nicely, and we came to your amazing space. So I was so grateful. So I'm so happy that you jumped on the podcast as well today.
It was such a special connection. I'm so grateful to have met you as well. So
100%. And I'm also excited that I get to know you more today. Could you share more about your journey and what has led you to become the person you are today? You can take us back to your childhood, or you can just talk about the last years, whatever you would love to share.
So I feel it's all kind of started, when I was little, I had a lot of stomach issues. So this is kind of based on where I am today. And so it's kind of led me through. So when I was little, I had, quite a few little stomach issues. And then it kind of, as I got into my teenage years, the doctors was, I had irritable bowel. So then they were trying to figure out okay, maybe you should go gluten-free or you should go dairy-free. So honestly, I literally tried so many, and back then that was when the gluten-free bread was literally so hard, and it was like the rock, it was just not very tasty at all. And so so my mum was super into the natural ways of doing stuff, and she always was trying to help me. And I was a third, and so she had 3 under 3 children. And so we're all really close in age. So she had a lot going on for herself. And so, she was really mindful about, trying to help me and my irritable bowels. And then when I was when I was in my teenage years, I got, when you go through, you start your menstrual cycle, and mine started off so awful. It was just chronic pain every month. So it was very debilitating as a student, as at school and stuff. So I'd have to go to school, and it got to the point when I was 17, 18, that I was taking so much pain relief just to even get myself to school, which was quite, it got to the point where I was my friend ended up taking me to the nurse because I couldn't even like stand up straight because I
Wow.
was on so many painkillers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from there I was like, oh my God, I have to stop this. This is so unnatural. This is, it's quite scary for myself. And I've kind of been down this road of, trying to make myself feel better all the time, because I've been to so many different health practitioners and doctors and stuff, just with the pain of the periods, irritable bowels, and like anxiety as I got older. So it's really just been this huge, like, kind of like a health and mental health journey. And they've always been separate. So they've never ever been dealt with together.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I got into, when I started to go to this woman that was a Japanese acupressure or Jin Shin Jyutsu practitioner, when I had my own business, I was only going to her for basically just helping my mental health with dealing with customers and just being on top of my game the whole time, because it was like a 6-day-a-week operation and it was a small business too. So that kind of led me into, like, it was making me feel better. I felt mentally a lot better, but I was still had like super bad like anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like, yeah, the social anxiety at that time when I was like early 20s. And then also like flying anxiety was super bad as well, to the point where like I would just, just not really go out. Like I'd work really hard and then I would, go out and have to like drink before I'd go out and stuff. Sorry, I've got a little visitor.
Hi. Your daughter is so cute.
Sorry. This is Florence.
Hi.
Who's that?
The more the merrier.
Yeah. You say hi to Sarah?
Hi.
Yeah, so it's really, I think there's been a percentage of my daily life that I have always been focusing on my health. And so yeah, I'm now in a place where I feel so good that I never really thought I could feel this good,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. So I think that's how it's all led me to, and also the fertility. That was when it's like kind of really made me, it's like a big thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what was the shift for you? Like, how did you, I guess, like, because you talked that your physical symptoms and your anxiety were never really treated together. Like, when was the time that you realized, or someone else made you realize, that your body basically speaking to you and giving you messages and hints about emotions and mental thoughts and patterns that need to be addressed and also that want to like be healed?
So that came from when I started going to this Jin Shin Jyutsu practitioner, and she was like piecing it all together, and I was like, she'd be like, okay, well, your anxiety will be stemming from, the root cause of it will be like your kidneys and the kidney health, like you've got blocked energy there. And I kind of never came, I'd never been taught that, and I've never been, aware of that. So, and it made sense because I was working on my feet 6 days a week in a commercial kitchen, probably like 10 to 12-hour days. And she was like, the ball of your foot is the kidney point. So if you're on your feet for at least 10 to 12 hours a day, you're impacting your kidneys. And then that's why you're getting such bad anxiety. And I was just like, oh, this makes sense. Like, you just really opened my mind to, and then she was doing treatments on me and I was like, oh my gosh, wow, I feel so much better. I feel less anxious. So yeah, it was just a really, and then she was telling me all about the root causes of so many different things, like with the period pains and with like depression as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
because when I was late teens, I definitely had, an element of
Yeah.
that with, school and stuff. So,
And Amy, for those who are still new to JSJ, could you explain in a nutshell what it is?
so Jin Shin Jyutsu, which is also known as JSJ, is it's a type of Japanese acupressure system that it basically works on you're holding 2 points on the body at all times, and you go through different flows or different sequences with your hands. And then basically what happens is it helps to unblock and clear like the energy pathways within your body, which are associated with different organ functions and different flows where the energy is meant to be going through your body. And then it helps to, reduce like symptoms, helps with dis-ease in the body, or also known as disease. And so it's such an amazing, powerful healing art. And it's been around for such a long time, which also helps with the physical, the mental, and the emotional all at the same time. And it's also really amazing for like your subconscious as well as your conscious mind as well. So dealing with, if you've got subconscious things that, when you're, for example, like when you are, what's an example? It would be, say if someone was like to you, oh, you need to, start being more positive. And sometimes, so for some people, it's super hard to be positive because it is connected to your large intestine's energy function. And if there's blocked energy there, it's going to be really hard to speak positively, be positive, because there's blocked energy there. So yes, you can have mantras and stuff like that. But if you're not sorting out the root cause of it, it's going to be a real challenge to speak positively, even in your mind, So
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm a huge fan of JSJ. Like I came across it when I was around 17, 18, so like 15 years ago now. And someone who's like a grandma to me, she had a very old JSJ book, like the pages were kind of already falling out.
Yeah,
and
love it.
that's how I discovered it. And first I was just using it for myself, on myself. But then I started to love it so much that when I started coaching, that I would also like implement it. And I think it's really, really powerful, particularly when with health symptoms, whether it's emotionally, mentally, or physically, but I'm talking particularly about physical health sensations and symptoms and diseases, because it helps to activate the self-healing powers in such a gentle yet powerful way. And as you said, like there are so many connections that you can make when it comes to the organs and then the emotions. It also helps to tap into things that we might have inherited, like certain patterns throughout generations. That's what that's what you were probably also referring to subconsciously. Like there's so many things. And I think it's such a beautiful healing modality and healing art. So I think it's so cool that you're doing this too. And I'm wondering, having been in New Zealand, which is a very beautiful place, but I did feel like everything that you are doing, whether it's with your company Commonwealth, or also being the ancient Japanese acupressure practitioner, like all these things, I do feel that you're a little ahead of your time down there. So I am wondering, like, how does it feel to build something where the environment is not yet that open to it? Because I live in LA, everyone has an acupuncturist, everyone has a psychic, or like whatever it is. It's very common for people to implement it on a daily basis. People love it. People want to talk about it. And I noticed that in New Zealand, people are open to talk, but it's always like everything is a little bit at a distance. So I'm wondering how that works. And also, do people come up with like a certain skepticism? Like, like I want to know.
Yeah, for sure. There's in New Zealand, it's definitely like I love where we live. I've always I had and I love the people here. We're very friendly, and I feel like there's definitely because also previously I had another business which was an online cake store, and I started that when I was like 18, and I've always had people. We've got a thing here in New Zealand called tall poppy syndrome. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I've always had this. I've always had to deal with it and keep So I've just kind of accepted that is what happens in New Zealand, and you can either take it as a negative or a positive. I feel like I'm a real optimist. Like even my husband sometimes is like, hey, too positive sometimes. But so I kind of use it as like it makes it more as my new business now with what I'm doing, and because it's in the health and wellness kind of industry. In New Zealand is a very we're very like medically orientated, and I think it's, for me, I've noticed with people is that it's about the experience. Like if they experience them doing the self-care meditations, or even like coming, for a treatment, a one-on-one treatment where I do the Jin Shin Jyutsu on them. After that, they're like, oh, this actually works. So it's like a real practical thing in New Zealand, I think, because they're like, how could that work? And to be honest, I was exactly the same before I had a treatment, because my mum, she trained and she's been having Jin Shin Jyutsu, and she also did a couple of trainings since we were teenagers. And I was always like, oh, whatever, like, it doesn't work. Until I needed it in my life, and I was like, oh my goodness, this actually works so well, and it's so effective. And I think, so it's all about, you can tell someone as much information as they want, but, it's not until they actually will put in, invest in themselves and the time to do it themselves or come for a treatment and experience it, that they're like, oh, okay, I feel so much better. I've had definitely a few clients that were like, nah, not for me, but like they have like quite serious health issues that they're like, okay, I'll give it a go and see how I feel. And some of them are like, wow, even just like the physical stuff, they're like, I've never felt this like relaxed, or I've never felt one person, their central nervous system, where they had surgery, and when they were little, and they've never had a calm nervous system. And I did this one hold on her, and she was like, I feel like you're like drugging me. I feel so relaxed. I was like, I'm just holding. So it's definitely, I think, and also it's taking a little bit longer to build and to introduce people to it, because people are ready for some sort of shift and change. And I'm like all for the medical world, and introducing them, like using them together. Like I go to the doctor and I get tests done and blood work done and stuff, because that helped me to navigate what I need to do on myself, and so
I always love to call it like complementary rather than alternative, because like it's not one or the other, as you said, like it's like, touch wood, if I always say, if I have a car accident and like I don't want people to put in herbs on my wounds.
No, no. You're like, I just want to go straight
I want
to
to
the
like go
hospital.
straight to the hospital. But if I have like, let's say a constant migraine or something, like rather than taking like painkillers, I actually want to like sit down and then reflect on what's giving me so much headache, or like, why do I need to like withdraw that much that I need to like, life let down for 3 days or whatever it is. So I think like everything has its place, and it's important to choose when is the time to go for one or one for the other.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's so important to know when the time is right for each one,
100%.
Yeah.
And Amy, can we you wrote something really beautiful on your website, which is listening to your body is the ultimate guide. How do you support your clients to do so? And also, how can self-care meditation, that's particularly what you also offer in Commonwealth, help people reconnect with their bodies and also trust that the body is a great and very honest and truthful guide?
So, yeah, I think it's just the most important. I mean, it's essential for life in terms of if you want to feel amazing every day, it's so important to listen to your body and to understand like why you're feeling the way you're feeling, or why is this emotion coming up, and then also being able to understand what's going on and then being able to transform it in an effective way that you can move through it and like nurture yourself and just because then you can keep moving through life easily and more gracefully in terms of like emotions and even the symptoms. I think the symptoms is a bigger they're more aware about their symptoms. I think now, actually, in the last since COVID, I feel like people definitely are noticing their emotions more because it's become such you need to talk about your emotions, you need to understand how you're feeling. So that's why it's a really important thing to listen to your body, because your body knows better than your doctor or your therapist or your acupuncturist, or there's and you can, and that's the thing as well, is that you can notice like the tiny little things, whereas it's not like you're going to go to your doctor and say, I've got this at 8 o'clock in the morning I have this like zinging in here, or like this little tiny because they're not going to know what to say really, or they're like, okay, so I feel like it's really important, to like listening to your body is like the key to feeling amazing.
Do you have like a practical exercise that people, the ones that are always on the go, and that are more like in their head than in their body?
In their head.
Like what would you recommend to people like that? How can they start implementing to build the muscle of trust in their body?
I think the most powerful thing for anyone to be able to do, which is completely free, is literally when you get into bed at nighttime and you just sit with yourself, like nothing, like no sound on, just you're sitting there, and even just 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and just closing your eyes and just noticing what you are feeling within your body, and just even writing them down, because it could even be, they might have had like quite an intense day, and they've had like someone's had a go at them or something, for example, and then they're feeling like super, they might have a really sore tummy, or this like could be those sort of things that I think is really powerful to start noting what you're feeling down, and then you can kind of learn and go from there. Once you start to, I do definitely put a lot of like educational stuff within our self-care meditations, just so people can, because it's, it's not a hugely widely known with the acupressure or the Jin Shin Jyutsu. that then it starts to like plant those little seeds that, you know, your stomach helps with your like calming worry down, and also really good for grounding the body if you're always in your head and like that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think it's just or even if someone does it once a week, you know, you'll be able to soon pick up on things like you feel, you know?
Yeah, I think it's really practice, as you say. And what I also love, like with, I call it body scan, what you just described. I also always love to incorporate the breath, because simply by noticing how we're breathing, you know, like, and everyone knows that, whether they're like into coaching or holistic things or not, is like when we're stressed, when we're anxious, when we're scared, like we tend to like hold our breath, or we tend to have a like, you know, like a short, shallow breath. Whilst when we relax, we're actually like, wow, this is the first deep breath I'm taking of the day. So I feel like one of the most honest ways to actually tap into how we're feeling is the breath. And then also really going through, you know, a body scan, and you can start at the feet, which is always great for the grounding, and just move through each body part. And as you said, it doesn't need like an hour. It can be like 10, 15, 20 minutes in the evening. And then also write it down. And what I love about the writing down part is we will quickly notice, like when we say, oh, I have like, you know, like let's say tense shoulders, it feels like such a heavy load. And the more you journal about it, you're like, wow, what actually feels like a heavy load in my life right now? You know, is it like the expectations I have towards myself? Is it like feeling responsible for other people's happiness? You know, like it's just one thing leads to the next.
Got the world on your shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. So it's such a great way, and the body is just such a great friend. I always tell this to everyone, like particularly people that have lots of different physical symptoms, or also chronic illnesses, or also severe diseases, is like your body's not doing this to punish you.
No, exactly. You're so right.
No, the body is your friend and is willing to go through that discomfort for you, basically, to look at certain roots that still need healing.
Yeah, like your body is so powerful. And as I'll go back to the breath as well, like your breath is like, it's the first thing you do when you come into this world is you breathe. And then the last thing you do when you leave is you take your last deep breath, you take your last breath, you know? So it's like the breath even can heal so much in your body too, you know, when you sit with that and you know, improve that as well. Especially in today's world, there's rushing and so much going on, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Can we come back to the self-care meditation? The reason why I want to do it, because I would love for people to check out Calm and Well, and, you know, like try it out. Before I let you explain what it is, like I personally think it's a really great way to combine traditional meditation with certain healing modality arts. I also love to incorporate like somatic exercises, you know, like JSJ, chakra balancing, because like it's so much easier, particularly for people that think, oh, I can't do meditation, I can't sit still. It's such a great way to actually, you know, drop into the body and be present with yourself. And at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of multitasking, but this really is like you get everything in. You're like the emotional, mental, spiritual, physical. It's like a whole reset.
It actually is, and I think that's why the combination of it. I mean, and multitasking is not, you know. I'm always, even with my children, I'm like, okay, mommy's just doing one thing at a time. Like I'm trying. Like it's one thing, but
after you went to bed, it might look a little different.
Yeah, exactly. When no one's talking to me, and I can just boom, boom, boom. But so with our self-care meditation is we do combine the JSJ with the breath work and then the chakra balancing music. And the reason why we've kind of done all of that together is because, one thing, it helps with the physical, mental, and emotional all at the same time. So when you are helping your your liver function energy, you're also helping like reducing frustration. You're also helping to connect back to your soul purpose. That's why like a lot of people will wake between 2 and 4 in the morning. That's like a sure sign that your liver's overloaded and you need, and you're not connecting back to your soul purpose. And that's why, and so there's the layering of that, but then people to help them with general stuff like sleeping better, calming during the day and all that and being present. But then with the breath, that helps, like it almost like elevates the JSJ for then to work and to move, almost more efficiently through the body. Because I mean, just even I know from experience when I used to do just like the self-care on myself, like doing the JSJ, self-help they call it. And that now when I do it, it's just like with the breath and focusing on that breath for like 20 minutes, it's like so much more powerful. And then layering it with the chakra balancing music, you drop into this like deep relaxation. You literally after 20 minutes, I'm just like, I feel like I'm just released so much in my body. I like feels, it just elevates it. So, and then, you are doing the holds on yourself at the same time. And I've had quite a few people who have either tried meditation before, just like the traditional one where you are sitting there and you're just focusing, you're not focusing on anything. You're kind of just trying to clear, breathe and clear the mind and calm it, I should say. And they've really struggled. Like even I did like a course on meditation, and honestly I sat there and I was like, I just want to move. Like I was like getting so like irritated, and I was like, I can't sit here for any longer. I feel like I want to run out of this room right now. So it's been like oh my god, this is just this changed. It's definitely changed my life, especially with children too. Like if I've had a big day and the kids, like I'm like, okay, I've got to still make dinner and like get them to bed and stuff, and I will just lay on the couch, do my self-care meditation while the kids are running around and doing their thing. And they know now, they're like, okay, mummy's doing her self-care meditation. And sometimes they'll come lay with me, or they'll just go and do their own thing. And even just them listening to the music, just like kind of just brings them down a little bit. So I think that's.
Have you also noticed a difference in your pets? Because when I put on like chakra balancing music or anything that's for the nervous system and I do my energy work, Felix, my dog, the first thing he does, he comes and sits on my lap.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like honestly, like so we've got three animals. We've got 2 dogs and a cat. And they come, so in the morning when I do my self-care meditation, I'll do it when I wake up in bed. And our eldest Sumo, the Labrador, he'll come and jump on and he lays with me while I do it. And then Inky, our cat, sometimes she'll come and just sit by my feet. And they love it. And then Hank, our other dog, he comes into my office every day and just sits in the bed next to me because I always have the music playing. I love it. It's amazing.
It's really amazing, right? And I think it's just so great because with everything you just mentioned, whether it's the breath work or the JSJ and like placing the hands on or fingers on different parts of the body, and also like using like meditation and chakra music. I think what I love the most about it, it even impacts positively layers that we are not aware of. Yeah, like we don't
Because
need
everything's
to.
like vibration,
Yes,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
So like, because sometimes people are like, oh, like, but what was this again? I'm like, don't worry about it. Like your body, your mind, and your soul will literally take whatever they need in that moment, without us knowing it. And I think one of the best example is when kids are using their fingers, like as babies, they usually take the finger that they need. Yeah, exactly. The thumb to like, calm, relax them. So I think it's or even like kids at school when they, do like, like hold. Yeah. Also to get more focus. So, or women that are pregnant getting like, the energy from their hips. So people intuitively already are holding the places where the energy starts to flow again. So I think that's one of the things that I love most about it.
I know, it's so fascinating, right? It's like, because even like with kids, how if that's the thumb sucking stuff is like, I've been trying to teach my niece how to just hold her thumb instead of sucking it. Because obviously like dental issues, if you're sucking it too long. And so I'm like, even if you're just like rubbing it, because she just needs like that, her stomach and spleen is what goes through your thumb. And by holding that, it helps with the worry and and children, the first stage of the children's life is like all about the stomach and the spleen. So it's really important at that time in their life to get that functioning really, really well, which is important. And even like when people like runners, like when you see like marathon runners and at the end and they're like holding their back. Like, like, or even like grip onto them like above the knees as well. It's like they intuitively know that's what their body needs,
It's amazing, right?
So good.
For someone that wants to try a 5-minute self-care meditation by themselves at home, obviously going on like joining Calm and Well, but if they just want to right away try it, what would you recommend for them to do?
So I would recommend, so if they're not on, like if they don't go onto our website or anything, if they can just go, if they're at home, I would recommend to even just starting with, because nowadays we're all like this, right? We're on our phones, so we're overusing our thumbs, which impacts the stomach and spleen. So I would just simply, if you've got 5 minutes, just sit on the couch, get yourself real comfortable. Even laying down is really, really nice, and just holding on to like your thumb like this, if people are watching, or if they're not, just you're literally giving your thumb a big cuddle with your other hand, basically wrapping all your fingers around it, and then just relaxing it down in your lap. And you're not like squeezing it, but you're like, it's enough that you can sort of still pull your thumb out of there, because the energy, and by holding that and just sitting and closing down your eyes and just connecting into that breath and just breathing is, trying to deep breathe through your nose right down to that belly, and then breathing out of your nose. And kind of, you can do like a 4 to 5 second count if you want to, with your breath. And that even in itself, just mindfully doing that and just connecting into that breath will really, and you'll feel the energy moving as well. Maybe it might take a couple of times, because if you haven't done it before, it might take a little bit longer to come, to unblock the energy pathway. And I think that would be a really good one. And it's good for worrying, good for helping that digestion and your immune system as well. So, and it's quite a comfy one to hold too. My kids love that one. They're always like, no, I want to hold my thumb. I'm like, okay. You hold your thumb.
And what I love about the finger holding, like, whilst we can do it while focusing on it and focus on the breath, it's also great to incorporate in the day-to-day stuff. Like, for example, when I do interviews, like I always hold a finger. Or when I have Zoom calls, or when I'm like in the car waiting at the red traffic light, I'm like, let's hold my finger.
And you just kind of just naturally, you
naturally,
you intuitively just grab the one you need.
Yeah,
the most,
exactly. Amy,
good.
before we move to the next topic, there is a question from our
Yeah.
audience, and her name is Emma, and she says, I'm good at taking care of myself on vacation and most weekends, but how can I start finding time for my well-being during the week amidst all responsibilities as a mother, wife, and while I'm working?
Okay. So I think the best time, I mean, I find as a mum and a wife and a working mum as well, I find the easiest time to like invest in myself is definitely when I first wake up in the morning. I have, and like, even if you go to bed half an hour earlier and then you can wake up half an hour earlier just to get even in like 15 minutes of like that one thing that just makes you as a person feel feel really good. You know, it might be you just want to sit and have like a warm cup of tea just with no one around. You know, like there's little things like that you can do that is investing in yourself. And just and I feel like too, it's a personal one, but I do really enjoy writing everything down to just get everything out. And yeah, I do my self-care meditations in the morning. I feel like that's the best time because the way you start the day is like kind of how your day will go as well.
Yeah,
so
it totally sets the tone.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, and I'm such a great believer in everyone's so different. Like, if you can find that one thing that makes you feel really, really good, and in a short period of time, do it like daily. Or even if you can, you know, if you can't start daily and you don't want to commit to yourself doing it but daily, it's just like booking it in your diary or your calendar, or you get yourself a notification, whatever works for you. Even just like 2 or 3 times a week to start with, you know. And actually, I find as well, like if you start it on the weekend, like a Sunday,
much easier,
and then you can do and then you can do 2 more times during the following week. It just like makes it easier, and then you kind of get into the routine. And
100%. And what I would also recommend for people listening to it, and then like let's say someone says, oh, but I have a newborn and my baby wakes up 6 times a week at night, you know, like it's hard to get up in the morning, or for any other reason, or let's say on a day where you have an early flight and you're like, I'm getting up already 4 a.m. in the morning. Or let's say you totally missed your alarm, has always happened to all of us sometimes. I recommend 2 things. One is routine stacking. So, you know, let's say for whatever reason, you can't take like extra space and time while you're brushing your teeth, you can do your breath work. Or while you do your skincare routine, you can listen to positive.
Or in the shower.
Yeah, or in the shower, you can do a body scan. You know, like all these things. And then the second thing I recommend is anything you're doing throughout the day, do it more mindfully. So let's say eating. So don't be on social media, or even while you're waiting at the, you know, like cash desk at the supermarket, rather than taking out the phone, focus on the soles of your feet and ground yourself a little bit. Or, you know, like while you're waiting for the water to boil for your tea, rather than like replying to an email, like we all try to multitask, like just, you know, like give yourself like a little hug or do like a body tapping. So these are the 2 things I would also add to what you already said really greatly, is to, for whatever reason, if it's not possible today, this is always a great backup plan.
Yeah, I love that. I love the habits, the stacking as well. It's a good idea.
Yeah, because sometimes like life happens. You know?
It does. I mean, I've had 2 babies. I mean, and you see, you know, you're trying to have your shower or something, and you're like, how I'm doing, like, you know.
Or just and also I really love what you said about Sunday, because it's sometimes easier to start something like self-care on a day where we are not working.
Yeah, I agree. It really, and I think too with a Sunday, like it really sets the tone for your following week. Kind of like in the morning, that sets the tone for the day. It's like Sunday that sets the tone for the week.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Amy, there is one question I'm asking every single guest I'm interviewing in 2025. And this is, if
Yeah.
your heart had wings to embrace your fears and rise above, what would you do right now?
That is it's such a great question. That would, I, what would it be? I think for me, it's just literally just embracing who I am, where I've come from, like why I'm here. Like this is deep. I think this is like I've done a lot of like self work on myself to just fully embrace who I am.
Mm.
Yeah, that would be my thing because
What is one
yeah,
part that you would love to share even more of yourself?
even more of myself. That's a great question. It would be just like that. I've definitely, well, I know that because I was talking to someone recently that I just met a woman, another woman, and I was saying, what I do, and she was like, "Oh, okay, like, oh, I mean, you're gonna judge me now because I like for all these other things," and I was like, "Not at all," and I was like to her, I have not been this calm, this happy
This
for like
radiant.
most of my life. Yeah, exactly. Like for most of my life, like my especially teenage years, 20-year-old, I used to party hard, work hard, like just, and I was always used to be a really stubborn human. Um, I know, and so that's definitely something I've really worked on, especially having kids, because I feel like I have this deep passion to help, especially other mums, thrive and help their children to thrive as well. Because there's so many mums out there that they see so much online of with social media, like the glamorized side of motherhood, and I think I just desire, and I just want to, like, I feel like if I could stand on the top of like a mountain and yell out to all the mums that need, that want some sort of guidance, I would do that, because there's things that they can do that help them for their lives to be better, in terms of, because I mean, there's, the quick foods that people are doing, and, like, there's so many long-term effects that it will have on children and them as well. So yeah, just like, I don't know, just helping other mums, thrive. Yeah, because their children are like, they'll still be here in like 70 years, so it's like if you can take care of the moms and help the moms, then they can help their children themselves,
Yeah,
they'll have the power
100%.
and like the tools that are actually effective to help their children. So yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I would love to
Yeah.
also talk about your furry kids. So you said you have 3
Yeah.
cats. Do you
Yeah.
include them in any certain rituals? I know you mentioned earlier that they're joining you for your self-care meditations in the morning, but are there any other rituals that you are doing with them, or?
Yeah. So, well, I take the dogs for a walk like most days. On the weekend, we might take them somewhere else. But so I always take them for like a nature walk. So we've got a beautiful super place. We've got a beautiful park that's down the road from us, and there's like a bush walk in there, and then you can walk around the fields. And so it's like like that's where I like connect into nature every day with them, and like they're off the lead and they just like love roaming around, and I like chat to them, and which is so nice. And I just our animals are, Sumo's just turned 11. and then Hank's turning 10 in March, and then Inky is 8, so she's turning 9 at the end of the year. So we got them pre-children, and I've always loved animals. Growing up, my mum was an animal lover as well, so we I just love animals. They're just like
me too.
super amazing and comforting, and they just get you.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about what you also said earlier about JSJ, where you work with 2 points. So one thing I've started, particularly when having clients with pets as well, and when I saw that they have similar symptoms or similar anxieties, and when I would do like in addition to my client, like working with JSJ and chakra balancing and EFT and so on, I would also do it on the pet. And what I would usually do, and I also love to do it with my dog now, Felix. So rather than having 2 hands on the same person, having one hand on the person and one hand, or yourself, and one on the pet.
Love
so
that.
You basically create a different flow. And Felix is a rescue dog, and I've started doing it with him like from very early stage on, and I've seen like such a transformation with him, like how much more calm he is, and like the confidence he has, and how much cheekier he is. And it's such a great way also to bond with your pets, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've done a lot of JSJ on our second dog, Hank. He's a French bulldog, and so he had early on, so when he was when he was a puppy, he had lots of like issues, and he's had so many different surgeries, and so he ended up getting a tracheotomy. So he's got a hole in his neck that he breathes from. And so I've done so much Jin Shin Jyutsu on him, like just especially with surgery recovery, and especially like with breathing, and like so because he's like needed it. And then it's amazing how it does, like it works. He's so funny though. I'll like do it on him, and then you can hear the energy moving, or like the squirming noises, and then he gets up and he shakes around, and he like comes back and sits back down. Like it's so cute. He's like, it's a little
I would even
move,
I would even say that all the energy medicine, how I call it, works on animals even better than on humans, because there is no ego that gets in the way. And what I just love is how, because some people are like, oh, wow, how do you also know how to do the energy work on animals? And then I always explain, throughout my coaching career, like I've seen so many similarities, but also when you look at the energy fields, it's like very much the same. So whether it's the chakras, they have like one extra one, but like, it also starts at the spine, it goes all the way up. And even like the JSJ is very similar. Also, if you work like with, the flows, also the flaws, the flows, when you worked with the different paws, like it's just like so similar. So I feel like if you know one system, you pretty well know the other system as well.
100%. Like it's so easy. Like, so you can apply it, like once you know it, you can apply it to a human or an animal.
100%. So that's really great. Universal. Oh, hi.
He's back.
So we'll wrap up with a pet Q&A.
Okay.
What is one of the many reasons you are grateful for your pets?
It would be their like unconditional love. I think. Yeah. That would be my main thing that I'm grateful for.
And what have your pets taught you about unconditional love?
That no matter who you are and what you do, they'll always love you. Yeah. As long as you're there for them,
Your kid is so cute. And what is one question you would ask them?
one question I would ask them. I would probably ask them like, what is their favorite? I mean, even though I think I know, I'd probably say, what is your favorite thing to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Love that. Yeah.
yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of people say they would ask, like, are you happy? What's your favorite thing to do? And also, do you really like the food?
That's actually quite a good one. Do you
That's a
really
really
like
good
the food?
question, too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like we've got a veggie garden at home and we've had to fence it off because the dogs, they get in there and they'll eat the cucumbers, the cabbages, the broccolis, like
All
they eat
gone.
just so many vegetables that I'm kind of like, maybe they're not getting enough vegetables. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But
Amy,
yeah.
thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing your wisdom and also for introducing JSJ and the self-care meditation to people and also how it can really transform people's lives, whether it's their health or feeling amazing and also, that you can have this also when having different roles like, being a mother, being an entrepreneur, being a wife. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I just love my chat with you today. So thank you so much. I'm very grateful to be on here today. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Yeah. It's a wrap for today, everyone. If you loved this episode as much as I did, please share it with your family and friends. And also tag us on Instagram. Both Amy and us will put all the handles in the show notes. Would love to hear your thoughts and your insights, or if you have any questions. And we're excited to see you next Wednesday.